Have you ever wondered what happens to towns when people suddenly abandon them? Places once full of life and laughter, now silent and forgotten, frozen in time. Today, we're diving into the haunting world of Australia's creepiest ghost towns. These abandoned towns hold stories of hope, loss, and mystery that still echo through their empty streets. Join me as we explore the hidden secrets behind these forgotten places and uncover why people left, what remains, and the emotions that linger long after the last footsteps have faded away. Let's begin this chilling journey together. If you love exploring spooky and abandoned places, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Ghost Hunt, so you never miss any of our latest videos. 1. Whitnoom, Western Australia. Whitnoom, located in Western Australia, was once a thriving mining town famous for its blue asbestos production. At its peak, it attracted workers from all over, buzzing with life and promise. But as time passed, the town's story took a dark turn. It became one of Australia's most infamous abandoned towns. While researching Whitnoom, I discovered that the town was eventually shut down due to severe health hazards caused by asbestos exposure. Blue asbestos, which was the main reason for its prosperity, turned out to be deadly for the residents and miners. The government declared the area unsafe, forcing people to leave behind their homes and livelihoods. This paradox, where the source of prosperity becomes the cause of devastation, struck me deeply. It made me realize how progress sometimes comes with hidden, tragic consequences that many people never fully understand. What fascinates me about Whitnoom is that it's not just a deserted place. It's a powerful story about human cost and environmental neglect. I can only imagine the eerie silence that replaced the once lively streets, empty houses, broken windows, and deserted roads, where children once played and neighbors once gathered. If I had visited this ghost town, I'm sure the overwhelming sense of loss and abandonment would have left me with a heavy heart. Another striking fact I found is that the government officially condemned Whitnoom and warned people to stay away. But despite this, the town's ghostly ruins still hold countless stories and warnings about the dangers of ignoring environmental and health risks for short-term gain. From my perspective, Whitnoom's legacy is a cautionary tale. It teaches us that we must look beyond immediate benefits and consider the long-term impacts of our actions on people and the environment. Progress is important, but not at the cost of human lives. Sadly, Whitnoom is a harsh reminder of what happens when that balance is lost. Ultimately, this abandoned town lives on in its memories and warnings. It serves as a haunting reminder that behind every forgotten place lies a real story, one filled with hope, struggle, tragedy, and lessons we can't afford to ignore. As someone who explores these ghost towns, I believe it's our responsibility to remember these stories, learn from them, and respect the silent warnings they give us. 2. Silverton, New South Wales. Silverton, located in New South Wales, Australia, was once a lively gold mining town, full of hope and opportunity. It attracted miners, entrepreneurs, and families who dreamed of striking it rich. The dusty streets buzzed with activity, and the town thrived on the promise of wealth hidden beneath its rugged landscape. But as I researched Silverton's history, I began to wonder, why did such a vibrant town end up mostly abandoned? The obvious answer lies in the gold rush's natural boom and bust cycle. When gold was plentiful, Silverton prospered. But as the gold deposits started to run dry, the miners and residents began to leave in search of new prospects. Mining towns like Silverton were deeply dependent on the success of the mines. So, once the economic lifeline dried up, so did the population. However, I believe there is more to the story than just economics. Living conditions in these remote mining towns were harsh isolation, extreme weather, and limited resources made daily life difficult. Imagine the struggle of families trying to maintain normalcy while surrounded by uncertainty. It's easy to think that the decline was just about money, but the emotional and social toll must have been immense. From my perspective, the abandonment of Silverton was not just a result of economic collapse, but also a gradual loss of community spirit and hope. When the vibrant buzz turned into silence, I imagine the residents felt a profound sense of loss, not only for their livelihoods, but also for the lives and connections they had built. Today, Silverton stands as a ghost town, with remnants of old buildings and dusty streets telling silent stories of its past glory. If I could walk through Silverton, I'd want to feel those echoes of hope and despair, imagining the dreams that once flourished there and the hard choices that led to its abandonment. Silverton reminds me how fragile human settlements can be when tied to a single industry. It's a powerful lesson in resilience and change, showing that behind every abandoned town lies a deeply human story of ambition, hardship, and eventual letting go. 3. Cook, Queensland. Cook, Queensland, once a small but important railway town, now lies mostly deserted. As I explored its history, I kept wondering, what made this town, once full of life, fall into abandonment? Cook's rise was closely tied to the expansion of railway lines, serving as a critical link for transporting goods and people. It was a hub of activity, with workers, families, and travelers passing through. But as transportation evolved and newer routes developed, Cook gradually lost its significance. The railway traffic decreased, businesses closed, and people started moving away. While economic shifts are the obvious reason for its decline, I think the story runs deeper. Living in such a remote town brings challenges beyond just jobs isolation. Limited services and harsh environmental conditions could wear down even the strongest community. I imagine families facing these hardships daily, slowly losing hope that things would improve. From my perspective, Cook's abandonment wasn't just about losing a job center. It was about losing a community's soul. When the train stopped coming, the heartbeat of the town slowed and eventually faded. I picture the quiet streets once bustling with life, now empty and echoing with memories. What fascinates me is how Cook's story reflects a broader pattern. Towns that rely heavily on a single industry or function face vulnerability when that pillar weakens. Cook's slow fade shows how economic changes can ripple through the lives of real people, leading to a town's quiet disappearance. If I ever visited Cook, I would want to capture that mix of resilience and sadness, the traces of life that remain, and the silence that tells a powerful story of change and loss. It reminds me that behind every abandoned town is a complex human tale, not just empty buildings. For Canana, Western Australia. Canana, once a thriving gold mining town in Western Australia, is now mostly deserted, a silent ghost town frozen in time. As I looked into its history, I kept asking myself, why was such a bustling town abandoned? Canana's rise was fueled by the gold rush, attracting miners, families, and businesses eager to prosper. The town boasted schools, shops, and a lively community. But like many mining towns, its fate was tightly linked to the success of the gold mines. When the gold started to run out and mining became less profitable, residents slowly began to leave in search of better opportunities. But beyond the obvious economic reasons, I feel there were deeper challenges. Life in Canana must have been tough. Harsh weather, isolation, and limited resources would have taken a toll on its residents. The emotional strain of uncertainty and dwindling hope probably weighed as heavily as financial hardship. From my perspective, abandoning Canana wasn't just about economics. It was about losing faith in the town's future. I imagine families packing their belongings, saying goodbye to neighbors, and walking away from the only home they had known. The quiet streets, once filled with life, gradually fell silent. Canana's story is a reflection of many towns that depend heavily on a single industry. The boom and bust cycle creates fragile communities that can disappear almost overnight. What makes Canana especially poignant is its slow decline. It wasn't an abrupt collapse, but a gradual fading away, which adds a layer of melancholy to its ghost town status. If I were to visit Canana, I would want to feel the mix of hope and loss lingering in the ruins. I would think about the dreams that once thrived there and the difficult decisions that led people to leave. Ultimately, Canana reminds me how places are shaped by the hopes, struggles, and resilience of their people. Behind every abandoned town lies a deeply human story, one of ambition, hardship, and the inevitable passage of time. 5. ARL Tonga, Northern Territory. ARL Tonga, located in the Northern Territory, holds a special place in Australia's history as its very first gold rush town. Once a beacon of hope and opportunity for many prospectors, it now stands abandoned, a silent reminder of a bygone era. As I explored ARL Tonga's story, I kept asking myself, what led to its rise and eventual abandonment? The discovery of gold in ARL Tonga in the late 1800s sparked excitement across the country. Prospectors flooded the area, eager to make their fortunes. The town quickly developed, complete with homes, shops, and community spaces. It was a symbol of dreams, realized and new beginnings. However, like many gold rush towns, ARL Tonga's prosperity was tied closely to the availability of gold. As the easily accessible gold began to run out, mining activity declined. The harsh environment and remote location further challenged residents. Over time, families left in search of better prospects and living conditions. What strikes me most about ARL Tonga's story is the resilience of its people who carved out a life in such a rugged and unforgiving landscape. I imagine the determination it took to build a community in the middle of nowhere, facing isolation, extreme weather, and limited resources. Their hope and hard work gave the town its brief but vibrant life. Yet, the town's eventual abandonment reflects a harsh reality no matter how hopeful or determined people are. Some places simply can't sustain a community once the main economic driver fades. The ghosts of ARL Tonga are not just in its empty buildings, but in the memories and dreams of those who once called it home. If I visited ARL Tonga, I'd want to feel the echoes of that pioneering spirit mixed with the silence of abandonment. It reminds me that behind every deserted town is a story of courage, struggle, and ultimately, change. ARL Tonga's legacy is a powerful lesson about the fleeting nature of boomtowns and the human stories that lie beneath their ruins. It encourages us to remember the past with respect and to appreciate the lives and efforts of those who shaped these places.